Greetings to all of my learned magic friends out there. My name is Jeff Kowalk, and you are watching Erudite Magic. This channel is all about magic books. So if you love magic books half as much as I do, you're absolutely in the right place, and we are delighted to have you with us. Please consider clicking the subscribe button below so that you don't miss any of our future episodes. We'd love to have you along for the ride. Today I want to talk about a titan of the magic world, someone who is a living legend. He's got more than 9 decades on this planet and has been writing books for erudite magicians such as you and me since 1962. I am, of course, referring to the legendary Harry Lorayne. You could know Harry Lorayne for a lot of reasons in or outside the magic world. If you don't already know about Harry Lorayne, you definitely need to watch this video. And if you do, then you already know how much he has given to the world of magic. Now, I understand that not everything he's done has been without controversy, and he certainly has an ego to go along with his legend. But if you put all of that aside and simply look at the magic that he has given not only to magicians, but to all of the audiences who have seen fantastic card magic performed, from what he's given, I think there are very few who can actually top what he has given to magic. Some people may already know him for his work outside of magic, which involves memory work. He made a career out of that, doing a book with Jerry Lucas, as well as going on The Tonight Show and performing different feats of memorization and dexterity of the mind, in addition to some beautiful card magic. Inside the magic world, he's published so many books and has his own 5-foot shelf of magic, essentially. It all started in 1962, but has continued and grown, and things have been revised, revisited, republished. He's published things such as the Best of Friends series, where he's gotten some of his buddies to contribute some of their best material, and he's put it in print for you. Since Harry has published so many books, including The Apocalypse, which ran for approximately 20 years, we need to narrow our focus just a little bit to talk about something specific, since I don't want to cover the whole gamut of Harry Lorayne today. So in this episode, we will focus on the Classic Collection, Volume 1. So quick flashback. Around or a little after 2010, I was just getting back into magic, and although I had a number of books on my shelf, I didn't have the library that I have now. I had just a few books. They probably all could have fit on a 5-foot shelf. I started doing a lot of reading about magic books on places like the Magic Cafe, where people were espousing the virtues of these books and dropping their ideas for what are the best top 5 whatever books. And I started to get interested in what should I buy? One of the first recommendations that came up was none other than Harry Lorayne's book. The Classic Collection Volume 1 is a compilation of 4 books plus a few extra pamphlets that Harry rewrote and shot photographs to put in a beautiful hardbound leather book. This compilation includes close-up card magic, that 1962 classic, personal secrets, my favorite card tricks, and dexterity, as well as the epitome location and some all new stuff that Harry wrote specifically for this book. I mentioned that it is a beautiful leather-bound book, so let me show you. Books like this can be hard to find, but if you head over to Don's Magic and Books, you may be able to find used copies of this. And certainly you can find used copies of other out-of-print books there for fantastic deals. This week, Don has decided to offer a slightly different code to you. It will be the code Lorayne, and that will give you 10% off of everything on the website. New books, used books, tricks, DVDs, etc. But there will not be a minimum required to apply that coupon. Now, if you buy $20, which is pretty easy to do at his website, you will get free shipping in the continental United States. But to apply the 10% off coupon using the code Lorayne, there is no minimum this week. So please take advantage of this. Go to his website, find some of those used books or new ones that deserve a spot on your shelf, and shop with Don this week. Tell him I sent you. Back to the review here. So this book, I had it delivered to me at work after I ordered it, and I stopped what I was doing immediately because there were a number of great tricks in this book that I wanted to know how in the world they were possible. And this book has not disappointed. In fact, going back through this book in preparation for this episode reminded me of how much exquisite card magic is in here. Let's run through some of what's in here really quickly. You have Lorayne's ambitious card routine, which, although there are plenty of ambitious card routines and others had printed some, his version is a great one to learn and is included in Close-Up Card Magic. There was a poll done a long time ago by Hugard's Magic Monthly about the greatest effect in all of card magic, and Out of This World won it hands down. Harry Lorayne teaches one of his versions in Close-Up Card Magic called Out of This Universe, which is an entire deck separation of the red and black cards as chosen by people. Fantastic. He teaches you Lorayne's poker deal, which really isn't his effect originally, but is his take on the Marlowe-Gardner or Gardner-Marlowe, depending on your perspective, poker deal. It's a great effect where the magician takes the 4 aces and demonstrates how someone would cheat with a deck of cards in a 5-handed game of cards. Of course, he deals the cards, demonstrating how he got all 4 aces for himself. This is a pseudo demonstration. It requires no real skill. After placing the aces back into the middle of the deck and shuffling it, he then deals another round of 5-handed poker, only to reveal that he has dealt himself a royal flush in spades and the other 4 aces are distributed among the other 4 players. It's a great effect, very little skill needed, and if you're wanting to show someone some sort of gambling demonstration, this can be done from a borrowed shuffled deck. There's Vernon's Aces, which is something that Di Vernon contributed, I believe, to the book, in which the performer buries the 4 aces in different parts of the deck, shuffles the deck in several different ways, using an overhand shuffle, a pharaoh shuffle, and a tabled riffle shuffle, only to show that all 4 aces are back on top of the deck. Ricky Jay performed this in his show, Ricky Jay and his 52 Assistants, so you can look up a clip of that if you want to see a demonstration of some of the material that's in the Harry Lorayne books. Of course, Al Coran's Lazy Man's card trick, which Harry tips here. Again, maybe not his to tip, but this is the first place that it was published, and it is a fantastic trick. And all within the Close-Up Card Magic framework, he teaches you all the necessary sleights that you need to know, including a few advanced ones like the spread control, which is a neat way to control 4 different cards on a deck that has been spread out over the table. The participants have placed their cards back onto the spread, and just by closing up the deck, the performer controls those 4 cards. Pretty cool? You have to check it out in Close-Up Card Magic. Personal Secrets has a few really great card tricks that I like. Magician versus Gambler is a neat trick by Dr. Jacob Daly originally, where the magician shows that he can produce the 4 queens from the deck. Upon producing each queen, he deals them down to the table, and when he finds the last queen, it isn't a queen at all, and instead all 4 cards have now turned into something else like the 3s, and the queens are in each of 4 different pockets on the magician's person. According to Harry Lorayne, One-Eyed Jack Sandwich kicked off the sandwich card craze, but it's a great sandwich effect if you don't know any, and it's pretty easy to do. One of my favorite tricks in all of Magic is the impromptu Out of This World, which can be done from a borrowed shuffled deck. It doesn't need to have all of the cards there, but you can perform a card magic miracle if you just learn this one trick. Dexterity, published in 1967, also has a number of tremendous card effects, and it also introduces a few non-card tricks with cigarettes and coins and paper bills, although the vast majority of this book is going to be card magic. Of special note in Dexterity is that he tips his version of the 10-card poker deal, which, if you're familiar with the concept, allows the performer to take 10 cards out of the deck and allow a participant to make all of the choices about which card they want. And every time you play a game of poker, with each of you getting 5 cards chosen by the participant loses every time. The way Harry teaches it, the effect is performed several times, building up the impossibility each time and making the conditions supposedly more advantageous for the participant. The Epitome location, originally published in 1976, is included in this Classic Collections Volume 1 and basically teaches you how to clock a deck. If you're not familiar with the concept, it's a mathematical principle where when you run through the cards, if you're able to tally up all of the pips or the numbers on the cards, you can figure out what one card was removed from a deck by doing some math. That may sound arduous, but Harry Lorayne is going to teach you a way to do the calculations so much faster and teach you a few effects that you can perform if you're able to clock a deck. In my world, there are a lot better effects, But if you're into that sort of thing, this is a very practical way to perform clocking a deck. In the extra special bonus, there are several really cool tricks, but one, of course, that stood out to me was from The Apocalypse and Gary Ouellette. It is the 4-second wonder, originally published as the 3-second wonder, which is a very fast production of the 4 aces from a shuffled deck if you want. So that's a quick run through of some of the highlights from this book. But why should you buy this book? There are several reasons that I can think of. One is I think you need to acquaint yourself with the classics, and there's nothing that's more classic than Harry Lorayne Card Magic. 2, this is a bargain. I mean, when you can get a book that is filled with 4 original books plus 2 pamphlets, extra stuff, new editions, tips, tricks from a real master of card magic, when you can get that for as little as this book, that's a bargain. 3 is that I think that this book will whet your appetite to learn more because there's so much great stuff here. When I first got this book, I had no idea that some of these tricks had already been published in other places or that they belonged to other people, but that didn't matter. I learned to perform them this way, and then my mind started to wonder about other versions of it and the history of it. So it led me further into books. So I have a lot for which to be thankful to this book. I'll remind you that everything is very easy to do. Almost every single trick in the book, other than the few I mentioned that use cards, coins, or cigarettes, use an impromptu shuffle deck in use. Most of the time, you don't have to have everything. There are some tricks that probably do require you to have a full deck or a small stack, but most of the time, Harry performs from a shuffle deck in use and teaches you, if there's a setup, how to get into that on the fly. Now, Harry is smarter than the average bear, as evident by his memory demonstrations and other things, so you may struggle a little more with the on-the-fly thinking and setup, but I promise it's within the grasp of most of the average magicians out there. You basically won't need any gaffes, and he's going to teach you everything, including all the little subtle details that really help to sell the trick. And that's where there's so much meat and value in a book like this, is that you're getting tips and tricks from someone who's performed this material for a very long time. Let's just say 60 plus years. With all this great news, I think I have to share with you one piece of bad news. That is that this book is out of print as a hardback book. There may be some used copies floating around either on Facebook groups or at Don's or other places like that, but you're not going to find this brand new anymore. But you can get this book either from harrylorayne.com, straight from the author himself, or you can get it from the Conjuring Arts Research Center. Both places offer this huge, thick, juicy, delicious book for $50 as a PDF ebook download. I'm not normally a fan of ebooks, but if you can't get this material any other way, I think you owe it to yourself to get it even as an ebook. There is such a wealth of information, and although the descriptions are probably perfectly adequate to teach you everything was meticulously reshot with digital photos so that you could learn from Harry's own hands showing you what to do. I had no problem learning anything, and I don't think I found any mistakes in the photographs that would confuse the reader. It is a beautiful, well-done book, and if you only purchase this first volume, you will have a lifetime of magic anytime someone hands you a pack of cards and says, "Hey, do a trick for us." I don't think you can put a price on that, especially learning from a master like Harry Lorayne. So if you've been around the block long enough, I'm sure that you have a favorite Harry Lorayne trick. Sound off down in the comments below. What are your favorite Harry Lorayne tricks or tricks that you've learned from his books? That's all I've got for you. This was just one book out of several that Harry Lorayne has republished and rewritten. So if you like this episode, let me hear from you and I will consider going over some of his other books in the future. If there are things you didn't get out of this episode that you feel like you should have, feel free to drop a comment down below and or send me an email. I will do my best to adjust. Thanks everybody for all of your support. It really means a lot that you watch this channel and engage with the content. I hope that you have a great week, and until next time, keep reading.